Hello and welcome to episode 10 of Making Towns. We made double figures. Look at us go. And what a guest I've got for the big 1-0. The King, RJ Singh, a British wrestling legend, a staple of the scene. Been around a long time, and he's going to join me on a little road trip as we head to Talks with Dorks' first ever show. Before then, though, going to go over with you what I've been doing over the last kind of 4 or 5 weeks since the last episode. Been a bit busier. I think you'll recall in the last episode I said my August was quite quiet, but my September starting to get busy. Starting to get that busy wrestling season. Had WrestleForce in Long Ditton. Great show. Great crowd. Good fun. We had a triple threat match, which was excellent. AJ Payne, Archie Cole, and Isaac Blair. Hard hitting, quick action, really good times. And another show for WrestleForce I worked was their show in Billericay. First time in a new venue. Had another great triple threat with Ollie Peace, Jaden Williams and Isaac Blair. Hell of a match. Really fun, really great show. Some tag team action with Black and Gold and Archie Payne and Regan Blade. Really good time, worth checking out, already on the WrestleForce YouTube, I believe. Go watch those matches, check them out, and you can see some of my camera work. How about that? I then went to CXW/CPW, their sister promotion and training school, for the first time. Really great fun, crazy action, great atmosphere. It was out in Braintree. Met some people for the first time. Only a couple of people I've actually met before, so really nice to work with some new people in a new venue. Really, really good times. Obviously, we also had Purpose Wrestling. Mama said, knock you out. What a show it was. We had the return to the library of Connor Mills for the first time in a little while, taking on David Francisco for the Purpose Wrestling title in what was a hell of a match. JJ Lynch and Rex Armstrong finally coming face to face in a last man standing match. A table exploded during that one. Watch out for it on YouTube when it drops. Hyperactive and Sunshine Machine in the semi-finals of the Tag Team Championship tournament, along with 114 versus Saeed and Cameron in the other half of the bracket. Two great tag team matches. Hyperactive and Sunshine Machine tear the house down. Two sets of fan favourites. Sky Smithson took on Harry Sefton. And that was a hard-hitting affair with some technical wizardry, as you'd imagine. Smithson gunning for the Purpose title now. And Jay Alexander took on Mark True in our opening contest. Hyper athletic, hyper fun. Go check it out when it drops on the YouTube. This is an episode I've been looking forward to. Talking to the King, RJ Singh. Someone whose work I'd watched before I worked in wrestling. Watching him at Progress and a few other places when I could find the matches on YouTube mostly, and then having him be the first person through the curtain at Purpose on the first ever show, involved in the first ever match with Rex Armstrong. That was when I first met RJ, and honestly, having him in the locker room for the whole time of Purpose, every time he's on a show, every time he's in the locker room, so helpful. Wants to talk to everyone, give everyone feedback. The young guys love having RJ, running their stuff by him, working with him. It's just been a pleasure to have him in the Purpose locker room. I'm sure we'll talk about that in this interview. So it's time for me to shut up. Let's talk to RJ Singh. The King, RJ Singh, where are we off to? What are we doing?
We are on our way to Talks with Dorks.
Hey.
Presents Never Say Die.
The lads. We're going to see the lads. I'm excited about this one. I've never met any of the guys, but I understand Ryan, who runs it, is an old friend of yours.
Yeah, Ryan and I have known each other for like nearly 20 years or so. We were both trainees back at Dropkicks back in the day, way back in the early 2000s. We both attended Dropkicks training, so we kind of known each other for a very, very long time.
OG Dropkicks.
Yeah, yeah.
As Charles Samuels would say.
Absolutely, yeah. And of course, I mean, that's where I met Char. I met Char there, and Terry Fraser and a couple of those other guys. So, because it was actually the second training school I went to. I was with FWA.
Where are they?
They were. So there was two FWA schools. There was an FWA school in Portsmouth, and then there was the FWA school in London. So in 2001, I I started training at FWA in London down at Finsbury Park. It was
wow.
it was called like the combat room, which was kind of like a martial arts room in the Sobel Centre in Finsbury Park. So didn't actually have a ring. We just had this matted room in which we kind of learned from there, and then we ended up in a small training centre with a ring, and then that lasted till about November of 2001, and then that school kind of closed. So we were looking for another school that was close by, and Dropkicks was kind of the next kind of close school for us.
Nice. So you say it was Shah was there when you got there?
Yeah. So Shah was training there as well. His tag team partner Terry Fraser was there. Greg Burridge. That's where we met Greg Burridge as well. So
two staples of the British independence scene.
Absolutely.
As you two became coming out of the same school at the same time. It's cool. Yeah, I've interviewed Shah on here already, and he loves the original Dropkicks.
Oh yeah, it was great. We had this. I mean, I don't know if he talked about the ring.
No.
But it was this tiny, like, I think it was I'm sure someone said 14 by 14, but I'm pretty sure it was 12 by 12 foot boxing ring.
Ooh.
So again, you've got this big, it was like in a youth club or something like that. So we had this big matted room, which was great, and then you got this very small boxing ring, which was almost impossible to do anything in. But somehow we still managed. But again, like when you're at that stage of like you're a year into training, you don't care. You're just like, I have somewhere to train. I don't care that I've got a full facility. I've got people around me who want to learn to wrestle. I want to learn to wrestle. Whatever facility we've got, that is absolutely fine. So yeah, that's kind of where a lot of us started in.
I don't think you paid a visit yet, but the London school in Tottenham, the Rev Pro school, that's a 13 by 13, and it feels small when you stand.
Wow, yeah. When you're running the ropes, you suddenly realise
it's a custom thing for the room.
Ah,
so the room can't fit a 14, but they didn't want a 12, so they got a custom made ring.
Excellent.
13 by 13, an old one.
Amazing.
But, yeah, it's good fun. So I don't know what you do. I sent you some messages about how this is about kind of getting around. I've been working in wrestling for like a year now. That's basically my primary job, which is cool. But I've driven more than I've ever driven anywhere in my life.
Excellent.
So this is kind of about like, how you get around, who you get around with. You're a driver yourself, right?
I am.
Lucky to catch you on a before you got in your own car.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm on a I've been driving since I first started. So to actually take any other form of transport to wrestling has been very, very rare for me. And I'd say the majority of my 20 plus years has been me driving myself and other people.
Who are you driving with now? Who's your regulars? Who are you driving with in the past as well?
Mainly now it's me and Sunset Skip.
I love Skip.
We do most of our driving together, obviously because we do a lot of tag stuff together now. That's the Strong Dads, but also we live about 9 minutes apart from each other. So I'm Hertford, he's Hoddesdon, so we're super close to each other. So majority of the shows I've worked over the last 2 years, I've either been wrestling on the card with Skip, against him, or tagging with him. So it's kind of our main
Apart from we need to come cause trouble down a purpose.
Absolutely. But I mean, the purpose drive is always.
It's a slog, isn't it?
It's always a slog because I mean, distance-wise, it's always funny because distance-wise, it's not that bad, but it's just because I'm coming all the way through the middle of London
on a Friday,
coming down through from just above North London all the way down on a Friday down to Wimbledon. It just takes so long, and I've actually done it a handful of times with Jasmine, my daughter, has come with me as well, and she hits that sort of hour and 15 mark, and she's really bored.
Are we there yet?
Are we there yet, Dad? I'm really bored now.
But then she comes in and she gets given like board markers and.
Oh my god! Like she's treated like royalty. She walks into the Purpose locker room and she's just treated like royalty. So
every locker room though, isn't it? Princess Jasmine.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, she does own any locker room she walks in on, but as long as there's things for her to do, she's absolutely fine. But I think she likes the Purpose locker room because there is a whiteboard with some whiteboard pens. And so she can just, I think like the second time I brought her, she was playing school, is what she was doing. She was like,
Bless her.
And we had a couple of wrestlers there who've got children of their own, so she was, bonding with them as well, which is quite nice.
She doesn't like you being a heel, does she?
She doesn't know. She will not. She often won't even come to the show. If I'm working as a heel, she won't even come to the show. But sort of where it's kind of like, well, I need you to come today because Mum's doing this or this, that, the other. she will not watch. She will, like, if there's a monitor backstage, she'll turn her back. She definitely won't come out into the crowd to watch. If I'm a face, she'll come and watch. She'll sit live in the crowd and she'll watch the whole thing. But yeah, no, if it's a heel, she wants no part of it. And I don't think it's even the way I'm behaving. It's how people react to me. That's what she doesn't like. She doesn't like people shouting stuff at me and booing me, even though that's kind of my primary purpose and what I actually want.
Day one with us as well. You were there to be booed. In fact, were you first out the curtain?
I was the first out the curtain. Yeah, I was the very first wrestler out the curtain on day one of Purpose.
Long time ago now.
I mean that cropped up on my memories recently.
It's 4 years ago.
It was, wasn't it? It was 4 years August that we had the first Purpose show. And
you and Rexy boy.
Absolutely, me and Rex had Jordan with me on that one, and we kind of went out and kind of established the East City Sovereigns in Purpose Wrestling on that day.
Back before he just dropped the suits and
absolutely, yeah,
started wearing pink all the time.
Before we had IB for Jordan.
Mate, the chaos reigns.
Absolutely, we had smart suit Jordan at that point.
Oh, God. He's a handsome lad as well. The pink detracts from that. I think. Fuzzy as well, all
absolutely.
Fuzzy. Oh mate. So who would you like your driving boys be in the past?
Different people. Like Sticks and I used to drive a lot together when we first started. Sticks isn't a driver. He never has been a driver.
You guys would have worked in Progress around the same time quite a lot, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, Sticks was living in by the time of Progress, Sticks had moved to Nottingham.
Okay.
But when Sticks and I first started, it was him because he lived in East Finchley at the time. So myself, Sticks, another former wrestler called Sir Thomas Chamberlain. We used to all wrestle like with each other or against each other and things like that. So the three of us would kind of do a lot of our driving together. And when I say a lot of our driving, neither of those two had driving licenses. So what I mean is me driving those two around. So I do the bulk of driving, and those two were kind of my main passengers. But we came through the same London FWA school together, all three of us.
So you know each other really
we knew
well.
each other really well. We had a lot in common. We had a lot of we hung out together. A lot outside of wrestling, we would kind of hang out together, and often sort of within that, the new breed, Ash and Curve, the new breed, also known as Phil and Paul to me now, they would be in there a lot as well, because we would meet up with them for either social reasons, or we'd be doing FWA shows with those guys as well. So yeah, I mean, but Sticks and I, because we worked against each other a lot back in those early days, promotions would kind of book us just against each other.
Oh, you sold the match, not the wrestler.
Absolutely. So we really did a bulk of the driving and car journeys together. And then when he moved up to Nottingham in mid 2000s, I think it was. He
was heel in that situation.
So.
You both feel like natural heels.
It was Sticks. I was very much babyface. I didn't really do a lot of heel work until about 4 or 5 years in. I started wrestling at the tail end of 2001, but I didn't really do any heel work till around 2005, 2006. I was predominantly a very cruiserweight face, so Sticks was like the heavyweight heel in that situation.
You're very good at it. It feels like your bread and butter most of the time.
Yeah.
Apart from when you're with Skip, obviously.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, heel work. I love heel work. I think being a heel is one of the most fun things you can do in wrestling. It's so incredible. Like all the things Jasmine hates about me being a heel is what I love about being a heel. I love just eliciting crowd reactions, doing things, saying things just to get booed, and all that kind of thing. So it's always been a great joy whenever I get to play heel on shows. So, but I mean, over the last 2 years, I think I've been predominantly face really. So, but there have been shows like Purpose where
I suppose my main kind of exposure to you over post COVID was Purpose, but the thing I watched of you mostly pre-COVID was Progress.
Yeah,
and you were a heel there a lot as well. Right?
Yeah, I started out as a heel. I mean, I certainly started as a heel in Progress. My first couple of shows, I came in very, very much as a heel, and then by chapter 4, we kind of did a face turn because I then went into tag wrestling with Bangor Knights. So they kind of turned me face at that point, and then I kind of rode out being a face in Progress until my retirement, which again was against Sticks.
Always circles back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean that was very much intentional. But when it came to the retirement match, there was only a handful of wrestlers I thought it could have been. And one of the wrestlers, he was kind of tied up with something else. The other one was Spud, and he'd moved to America, I think, by that point, because he was working with TNA.
God, he done very well for himself.
I mean, I had a huge history of wrestling with Spud. I wrestled him probably as much as I wrestled Sticks. So if he had been around, he would have been a potential candidate. But I think it probably always was going to be Sticks with my original retirement. It was always going to be Sticks. So that's why we ended up having that match at Progress.
That would have been a cruiserweight style fun fest. He's a very flippy boy, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I think the dynamics of how I worked against Sticks, with me being the flyer and Sticks being the heavyweight base, was kind of flipped whenever I worked with Spud. So I then had
quite a short dude.
So
right?
yeah, he did a lot of the flipping. So I kind of was always in my early days. I kind of had my feet in both camps because I worked with a lot of cruiserweights and I was kind of the guy who did a lot of the basing. But then I worked with people like Sticks, and then I was the cruiserweight in that situation. So I did get, again, it was quite a fortunate position in my opinion, because I kind of got to work both sides of it.
I suppose that is an advantage to being kind of a middle-sized wrestler, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
With the little guys, you're the big guy. With the big guys, you're the little guy.
Absolutely, you kind of get best of both worlds. And again, there's lots of advantages to being able to work both of those styles, and heel and face in both those roles.
Speaking of heel and cruiserweights, and you've created a bit of a monster in Kean Cameron. He was so nervous about being a heel when we decided to turn him heel on purpose, and he thrived.
He's incredible.
Absolutely thrived.
He's been incredible.
He might be the most hated heel with purpose.
Absolutely. I mean, he gets the little shit chant, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he just gets little shit, and he plays up to it so well.
Yeah.
And if you watch him in Pro Wrestling East, he's one of the biggest faces in Pro Wrestling East.
And he's bread and butter as WrestleForce, right?
Absolutely. And he's such a baby face, and everything about him is a baby face. But actually, do you know who I liken him to is actually Spud.
Oh yeah.
Because when Spud was the most white meat babyface you could have in British wrestling for many years, and then he went away and he sort of reimagined himself as Rockstar Spud.
Oh yeah.
And he was a fantastic heel, and it's like, wow, I can't believe you're such a good heel.
Hell of a compliment for Kean.
Yeah, and I think that's what I feel like with Kean. When I look at Kean, I'm like, wow, you've got that similar vibe, in that you are such a tremendous babyface that actually you make a brilliant villain as well. And he plays it so well. So
I honestly can't believe working. All it took was working with you and Jordan. Maybe it was 2 matches in, and all of a sudden he just had it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It just clicked. I think that was probably the benefit of putting him with us, is that he kind of followed our lead, but then he put his own spin on how he was going to be a heel. So he wasn't just going to carbon copy what we were doing. Because again, if you watch me and Jordan, we play heel in very different ways.
Mm-hmm. Jordan plays the buffoon, which I love.
Yeah, I mean, he's incredible. And we play our heel personas very, very differently, but they complement each other. And I think it's always going to be slightly difficult when you add a third person into that. But I think Kean managed to find a brilliant niche of how he was going to do it.
Well, I think actually bringing in a person who is a completely different style of wrestler to the two.
Yeah.
Jordan's a power guy, you're a technique guy now, and he's a high flyer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And actually, as a combo, the three of you work really well together.
It all just sparked the chemistry. I think with the three of us just sparked brilliantly.
I said it to Shah when I interviewed him. I think Jordan might be the best prat in British wrestling.
He's amazing. He's amazing, and I think that's because he learned to relax into that role. And John will tell you this himself. He took it all so incredibly serious at the beginning, and especially when we first started out as a tag team, he would take it so seriously, and he'd get in his own head. And he found it difficult. And then somewhere along the line, I think following COVID, actually, when we came back out of COVID, he just started to relax. So I think the more we worked as a tag team, he started to relax more, and he started to actually realise what his natural talents were in. It wasn't about being this super intense bad guy.
Yeah.
It was about being the guy who would be the pratfall. And actually his natural charisma then came out, and you started to see a lot more of him as he really is.
Yeah.
And that worked in his favour, and actually he became 10 times more entertaining. In my opinion, he was a much more entertaining wrestler. He was more fun to watch. He was way more relaxed about how we would go into our matches and what we'd be doing. And I think he just found his niche at that point, and has been brilliant at it ever since.
Anyone who knows Jordan at any level knows that what he's doing in the ring now is just him. Like
100%. 100%.
He massively put you over when I interviewed him, and so did Shah. And you know what? I mean, I put you over so much on here as well. Despite the fact that you're terrible. As the,
I'm terrible. Oh yes.
The terrible.
As Mighty Pro Wrestling found out.
That was. That still makes me chuckle every time I kind of peruse my files. Oh yeah, Mighty Pro. When RJ kept saying terrible.
That was such a great show. Just in the fact, because I turned up slightly hungover, and I never drink. And me and my wife had been to a Simple Plan concert the night before.
Simple Plan.
So yeah,
so Jordan had told me you'd been to a concert. I didn't realise it was
Simple Plan. Yeah,
amazing.
My wife's a big, like, she loves bands and stuff like that.
Just
so
a kid and life's a nightmare.
Absolutely, and she's a huge fan of Simple Plan. So like we went the night before. We were in London, and because we got a hotel, so we decided to, like, we must have some drinks. And I don't drink ever, like. But I was like, well, we're at a hotel. It's just the two of us. Jasmine's off being babysat. We'll have some drinks and whatnot. And because I don't drink, it doesn't take very much for me to, you know. So I think first of all, Jordan was incredulous that I was like, "You're right." I was like, "I'm slightly hungover, mate. I've got to be honest."
That's his role.
Yeah, and he was like, "Whoa, I'm not hungover." And then he was like, "Oh wow, how much did you have to drink?" And I was like, "I don't know, 3 beers." And he was like, "Uncle, what are you doing?"
That's that dad liver, man.
It is. So it was a fun. That made it fun, actually. That made part of it. What made it so fun that day is that we'd switch roles for that show, and he was the in charge one, and I was kind of just catching up with him for that.
To be fair, you guys were wrestling Sunshine Machines.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could ask for a better team to face for something like that.
Absolutely. You know, we had a really, really fun match, and it was a really fun show. So
enjoyed that. I enjoyed that was my first foray into ring announcing as well.
Yes.
And I got to be like a little bit involved when you guys and Mills come out, and I had to be a bit like wary. And
yes.
Then Jordan pushes his luck to get to shove him. That was great.
Of course. Amazing.
Keep threatening to book I'm going to book a show just so I can give him a stunner. So.
Yes, must happen.
When you're on the road, I suppose you don't do as long journeys anymore. But when you used to maybe take some longer journeys to shows, you have to hit up a services. Where are you eating? What's your?
Oh gosh, service. So, do you know what? I am so basic. I keep saying this to people. I'm so basic. Like, if I can get a McDonald's, I'll get McDonald's.
Fair.
I like, and I said this to someone the other day, they looked horrified when I said, "Oh yeah, I think McDonald's is better than Five Guys." They looked horrified. I was like, I probably said something really controversial here, but I really like McDonald's. I really enjoy McDonald's food. I try not to eat it very much these days, being that I am now 44, and obviously the more you eat McDonald's, you know, it's not good for you.
It goes to places.
It goes to places, and it's hard to remove from those places. But I absolutely love McDonald's, so if I can get a McDonald's, I will. But obviously, you know, certainly back in the day when we first, you know, in the early 2000s when we were travelling shows, service stations just weren't open like that late.
Little Chef,
especially when you drive it back. Yeah, it was Little Chef, and it was basically back in the day. It really was like a Ginster's pastry from the garage, because that's the only thing that was open. So a lot of it, there was a lot of service station sandwiches and Ginster's pastries that were consumed back in the day.
I suppose now also you have to just go where Jasmine wants to go, right?
Absolutely.
But she's off the McDonald's, I assume.
Oh yeah, again, if she's with me, we will stop at McDonald's.
Amazing.
As long as she can get a Happy Meal toy, she's absolutely fine. But I remember with Sticks, we always used to get I can't remember what brand of cookies it was, but it was white chocolate and raspberry cookies, which was really fantastic.
Sounds like an M&S cookie.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So, but yeah, definitely. If there's a McDonald's, I will try it up at McDonald's if I can.
The little tip Amira Blair dropped when she was on here: if you want to guarantee a fresh burger, ask for it with extra pickles or extra onions.
Oh, really?
Because then they have to make it fresh.
Oh, fantastic!
They're not just going to open an old one and throw them in.
Of course.
They'll just build it fresh.
Of course, that is genius.
Obviously, during the height, you know, lunchtime, dinner time, they just pre-make a ton of them.
Of course, and you just give them one of those. If you're wow, that is genius. That is who knew? Who knew she was such a genius?
Yeah, well,
we all did.
Yeah.
You spend 5 minutes with her, you know she's a genius.
She's insane, and there's
total like evil genius, like completely insane. Yeah, definitely.
There's what is it? The fine line between genius and insanity, and she rides it.
Absolutely.
When you're on the road, what's your tunes? What's your vibe?
See, I'm really eclectic in what I listen to, in that I will listen to such a wide variety of stuff. Like some days when I'm on my own, I'm a little bit more of a actually, funnily enough, I don't listen to Simple Plan. I'm a bit more of a podcast guy these days. And when I say I'm a podcast guy, like there's 3 podcasts and they're all about film. So my favourite being What Went Wrong.
Okay.
That's my favourite podcast. It's absolutely brilliant. So I do tend to listen to podcasts a bit more, but when it comes to like tunes, I'll listen to any. There are some days I'll get in the car and I'm like, I'm going to slap on classical music and I'll just listen to classical. I like 80s. Whenever I'm with Skip, it's 80s music.
That is unsurprising when you look at your two's aesthetic.
Absolutely, yeah. If you look at our aesthetic, it's not surprising. Me and Skip will listen to 80s tunes or like classic WWF Hulkamania Hulkamania era wrestling themes, we'll listen to. We
All
always
this Jim Johnston classics.
absolutely, or Jim Johnson, Jimmy Hart. Every car trip I think we play the Fabulous Rougeau's theme tune because it is so 80s. It's so amazingly 80s.
Almost every person I interview says there's someone at least that they travel with who always puts on wrestling themes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There will be a part where we'll be like, let's whack the wrestling themes on, and we've got to start that off with the Fabulous Rougeau's theme.
Apparently, drive Shah fucking mental.
That doesn't surprise me.
Traveling with Grado, and apparently that's all he wanted to listen to.
Yes. So, but I'll listen to anything. I really listen to a whole a wide range of music, like movie soundtracks. I love. Some days I'll be like, right, Jesus Christ Superstar soundtrack's going on. Always the 1996 cast. That's the,
the OG.
Absolutely, 1996 cast. Steve Balsamo as Jesus Christ is the absolute one, or Michael Crawford's Phantom of the Opera, original London cast. I like.
A bit of a musicals guy.
I do. I love musicals. I absolutely adore musicals. So Hamilton, that goes on sometimes for me. I'll listen to Hamilton all the way through.
My wife loves Hamilton.
So absolutely incredible.
She's a big musicals person as well.
Avenue Q, I do love the soundtrack. The Avenue Q's got an incredible soundtrack, so I like that one as well.
Who's got I know especially you, as you're the main driver, you normally get to pick the playlist.
I do. The only time I don't is when I'm driving with my wife or child. Like when Jasmine's she's like, can I have my music?
Bluey, let's go.
Bluey for sure. All 3 Bluey albums I get to listen to. Sometimes Gabby's Dollhouse. Although she has seen 101 Dalmatians the musical recently.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that is being played an awful lot in the car with her. She absolutely loved the 101 Dalmatians musical. So
I don't know if you have much of an answer for this question, but who's got terrible taste when you've got in a car with them, wrestler wise? And you've got
wrestler wise.
God damn.
Again, with like in the early days with like Styx and the New Breed, I listened to an awful lot of metal. And I don't mind metal, don't get me wrong, but when I was driving with them, I discovered a lot of metal music that I'd never heard.
You grew to appreciate it back then.
Some good, some not so good.
Yeah, there's some trash.
And there was a guy we used to train with called Anthony, and we're still talking cassette here, so we're playing cassettes in the car at this point. And he used to always bring like a real metal cassette, like real hardcore metal. And then we flipped over to the B side of the cassette once, and then like Gypsies, Tramps and Thieves by Cher came on. And literally as this moment, we all just turned to the back of the car, and he was like, it's a classic.
Everyone's got those spots, right? Those songs where they're just like, hell yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like, it was so out of the blue, but it was like, yeah, that's a great. In fair point, it is a great tune. So
Is there anyone who's got like just total bangers? This is going to be a good.
Yeah, like I said, Skip. Me and Skip, because like me and Skip do most of our travelling. He always comes up with some good tunes as well. So.
I can't even imagine how many miles you've done on the road. But over this time, who's been your favourite person? Who are your favourite people? Jump in a car with, you're gonna have a laugh.
Yeah, obviously Skip is like, say he's my main man, so we do a lot of our driving together, and like it's never dull. Because it's not just obviously wrestling we talk about. Obviously we're both educators, so we both talk a lot of education and how terrible it is. But obviously our kids are similar age, so like Jasmine and his son are about 6 months apart.
Oh wow, they really are close.
So we do talk a lot of dad stuff in terms of that as well. But so one person who who is actually no longer wrestling, who was a fantastic driving partner, was Clementine.
Oh, I love Clementine.
She was amazing to travel with. We always had so much to talk about because, she personally, she's such an interesting person because, like, just on top of wrestling, like, she would talk about her voice acting, her acting. I think her grandparent was from Trinidad, and like my mum's from Trinidad. So our car journeys were just always full of really interesting conversations. She was someone who was just really great to talk to. And every time we only did a handful of drives together, but it was like there was so much. We just had so much to talk about, and the journeys were never dull.
I hope she knows she's missed in wrestling.
She is so missed.
Fun.
She was such a great person to drive and be on shows with.
Staple of the first year of Purpose, just before she retired.
Absolutely.
Great fun to have in the locker room. Great fun to have in the ring. Such a laugh.
Brilliant, yeah, brilliant person to have around. So I really enjoyed my car journeys with her.
Anyone who you've got in the car and gone, no, this guy.
I'm not going to throw anyone on the bus here, but
Shah told some stories without dropping the name.
No, I'm not going to say names, but I had someone who would just sleep every time, who would just fall straight asleep, and they snored as well, and so that was really painful. So I was like, not only are you sleeping, you're snoring, and it's tremendously like, and then another time there was another person who just like there was just no conversation in them, and like, you ever been in those car journeys where it's any conversation where you're like, you prompt a conversation
get
two-word answers or such short answers that like And that's the conversation gone.
Great, yeah,
there is nothing more to say now. And I was like, there's only so many times you can engage the conversation before you just want to. And one time I had a person like that in the back, and I had the falling asleep person in the front.
Oh, mate.
And it was all the way up to like rugby. Or no, it was Coventry. It could have been Coventry or rugby. And then on the way back, I'd actually got a concussion, which I didn't really know was a concussion because it was the first one I ever had. So driving home with a concussion where my head's a bit wobbly, that one's asleep, that one's not saying anything.
No, that made you feel drowsy.
It was hands down probably the worst car journey I think I've ever done. It was so terrible. My other one, which I don't think was a great car journey, and it should have been, someone who is now a former WWE champion, former TNA champion, was in TNA, New Japan, probably won't be able to work out. Recently just, it pops up a lot. I thought he'd be really interesting, but he was big on the indies at the time, so this was about 2004-05, and we did a show, and he needed to be back in London after the show, so I said, I'm going through, I can get you back to London. So they're like, oh great, Ross, can you drive him? So I was like, yeah, no problem. And he would kind of stay with one of the commentary team of FWA at the time, and so I was like, there's going to be so much we can talk about. I can pick his brains. This guy's like the biggest guy on the indies at the time. It's going to be amazing. I think we spent about half an hour in conversation of like a 2.5 hour journey, and then he opened up a portable DVD player in the back of the car, and him and the commentary guy just watched DVDs of like his matches.
Oh wow.
I was like, oh, this is a bit rubbish, so this is no longer a fun journey.
It's funny you're talking about portable DVD players. I had a conversation about them yesterday. I've not thought about them in years, but I used to work in HMV when they kind of became big.
Yeah.
And I worked near both the Millwall and Crystal Palace training grounds.
Right.
So all the players lived near there as well.
Amazing.
So we used to get all those players coming in buying like the 4 for 20 quid or 5 for 20 quid DVDs, just a stack of them for their journey if they were going to probably drive to Newcastle, on the team bus or something.
Of course.
Yeah, we used to get them in all the time.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, and I thought they were really cool. I was like, and don't get me wrong, back then, like 2005, a portable DVD player was really cool until it's being played in the back of the car, and there's no real conversation happening. It's like, okay.
Well, you left in the front on your own as well.
No, luckily I did have someone else in the front with me, so we were alright. But it just kind of put an awkward vibe in the whole car.
Made you feel like a cab driver.
Yeah, it's like, well, it's just, it's not as fun as it should be.
If you don't want people falling asleep in your car, never offer to give the Bryants a lift.
No.
Xander and Leland specifically.
What? They're falling asleep?
Those teenagers.
What? They've been in this business for a cup of coffee and they're already falling asleep.
I drove them down to purpose. Nino was off winning the J Cup. And they were on purpose. So we could Leland in the main event as well. Bless his cotton.
Bryants, we are having a conversation.
I'm sat here.
When I return to purpose.
In this car, I'm sat here, Xander's in the front seat. I hear a snore. He weren't snoring, you know when they one of those, yeah. Look to my left, Xander's passed out. And then I'm like, look in the mirror to go, Leland, Xander's, and he's asleep.
Bad etiquette, boys. Bad etiquette.
And apparently, and then I spoke to Nino about it. He's like, yeah, they fall asleep every car journey. And I was like, do you? He's like, no, it's just those two.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And apparently, especially Xander. And they live close to us as well.
Amazing.
So,
amazing.
Borehamwood's not that far. In fact, by the end of this interview, we could actually go to their house and knock on the door. Let's not do that.
I might do actually. I might have a word with them outside.
I've got their address somewhere. So you've obviously travelled up and down the country a ton. Where's the furthest you've gone for?
On a car journey, Newcastle.
Newcastle.
I did a show all the way up in Newcastle, and
was that for North or was that pre-North?
Who was that for? Gosh, no, that was just. Do you know what? It was James Mason. It was James Mason just kind of running his own independent show.
He's more south-based, isn't he?
Yeah, so it was a real. Yeah, I can't remember how it came about.
How did you fly that?
I was driving with Styx, and Paul Burchell.
Oh, okay, the pirate boy.
He of Pirate Fame, Paul Burchell. It was him at the time. So him and I actually split the journey. He did a bit of the driving, and it was my car, and he did a bit of the driving, and I did a bit of the driving.
Oh, amazing! That's the kind of person you want in your car.
Yeah. So it was him, me, and Styx, and potentially someone else. Maybe I'm trying to think who else might have been in the car. But thankfully, we were working a tag match with James Mason as well. So
nice.
kind of. I know. I'm lying. I've told a slight lie. Paul Burchell was in the main event against someone else, but it was James Mason and Styx versus me and someone else.
Oh, so you and Styx could do a little planning, and then.
So obviously, me and Styx already had our bits.
Yeah.
Like working with James Mason, it's just so easy anyway. So you really don't have to think very hard when you're working with James Mason. He's so good. he'll do half the work for you because he's that
he's
incredible to work. So yeah, that was a hell of a journey.
He's been around longer than you, right?
So yeah, so that was like, I think Paul Birchall must have met me in because Paul Birchall was like Portsmouth based.
Oh yeah.
Or certainly down south. So I think he came to me, and then we drove to Nottingham to pick up sticks, and then we went from Nottingham to Newcastle.
Portsmouth to Newcastle in a day for a show.
Yeah, that was there and back in a day was a heck of a drive. So, but before that, I mean, Morecambe was a regular drive when FWA and XWA were in Morecambe, and that was always a really long journey. Like, especially coming home because we'd finish the shows typically around 10 p.m. So you've then got like near 4 hours of driving home. So that was always although I did one of those with Joe Legend, one of the drive backs with Joe Legend, and he was really good conversation.
That helps kind of feel the energy though, doesn't it? Like,
absolutely. So he made that good.
Like, you're feeling tired, but there's two things about late night drives. Normally the road's quite clear. Yeah. And if you've got someone to chat with. Amazing. Yeah,
and definitely a couple of times on the way back from Morecambe, I did a stop into a services, set the alarm for 1 hour 55 so you don't go over the 2 hour limit. Right, we're gonna have to sleep, literally, because I think it'd be like we'd be rolling into a services at 3 in the morning. I'm like, I've got to sleep or else I'm gonna
need something.
So it'd be like, right, let's just sleep for an hour, let's eat something, and then we'll get back on the road, and then it would be like walking through my front door at 7 a.m. or something silly like that.
Were you teaching then?
Yeah, but I mean, this would be a weekend, and I remember actually we did Morecambe on like the Saturday night,
trying to recover, ready for Monday.
but we did. I remember it was FWA, and it was like a header or a double weekend, double header. Yeah. So we did Saturday night in Morecambe. I then drove Legend back to mine. He stayed at my house, and then we got up and we did FWA Broxbourne the next day.
Oh damn!
So that was that was it. But I mean, I was in my 20s then, so it was like,
it's fine. Yeah,
I was invincible.
I'm tired just thinking about that, bro.
I was invincible back then, so it's fine. Your 20s, you're invincible. So
What about the closest venue to home? I know you do occasional dates for WrestleForce, right? That must be pretty close.
Yeah, so WrestleForce, I've done WrestleForce in Harlow, which is really quite close to me. That's a nice sort of 15-minute journey. UBW do a lot near and around me. So UBW have been in Stevenage. They do smaller shows in Stevenage. Obviously Southside used to run Stevenage, which is now, those venues are now being run by Rev Pro. Book me in Stevenage Rev Pro. Throw that in there. So when Southside was doing Stevenage, that was quite a nice, easy venue for me as well, 15 minutes away.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so UBW have done like Welling Garden before, which is really, really close to me. So I mean, I've got a really fantastic. We've got the Beam Theatre in Hartford, which was the first British wrestling show I ever watched back when it was Castle Hall, back in, when was that? March of 2000. I think it was March of 2000. That was the first British wrestling show I'd been to see live. But no one's ever. I think Hammerlock back in the day may have run that theatre, but no one's run that theatre for a good, I'd say, 15 years. But I don't know if that's a problem with the.
Some theatres have changed their mind on wrestling, but
I don't know if anyone. I think the venue might be a bit against wrestling, so I don't
let Ollie Peace though, he'll try.
So yeah, and I've done Ware as well. I've wrestled in Ware, and that is literally. It's 5 minutes. 5 minutes door to door.
5 minutes door to door is beautiful.
That's always a wonderful one to do. Yeah.
When you say a British show, was it actually a British show, or was it a British one pretending to be American?
No, I mean it was FWA. It was FWA,
okay.
So it was the first time I met a lot of the FWA. First time I ever saw the new breed. People like Johnny Storm, Jody Fleisch, Doug Williams. It was all those kind of guys that I'd seen for the first time. So.
Amazing, great characters.
Yeah.
First show I went to, got taken to, was at Fairfield Halls, and it was a lot of fake, like the fake Kane, fake Undertaker.
Yeah. I think those kind of shows were prior to 2000. I think a lot of those shows did end up in Hartford, but I never went to those.
I got taken by my aunt. I think Real Jake the Snake though. I think that was the draw.
Yeah. I was on a show with Jake the Snake.
Was that back?
I've been on 2 shows actually.
In his bad times.
The first one wasn't.
No.
The first one he was in a good space and was incredible backstage.
Yeah.
That was a All-Star show.
Oh, amazing.
And he was amazing to talk to.
I think it was All-Star I went to at Fairfield.
Yeah, I mean, he was amazing to talk to backstage. He was just incredible. There's so many good stories he told us. And he was really lucid and da-da-da. And then the second time I'd gone to that show. The second time we met him was again another FWA show, and he was not in a good way. And then I was due to meet him a third time, and actually something had gone wrong where like he was supposed to do a tag match.
Oh yeah.
And at one point, I was slated to be his tag partner, and in the end, it didn't work out that way.
Golden footage for you.
The match changed so many times. I ended up working the match in FWA, but I didn't end up being Jake the Snake's partner. Like by the time Jake got to the venue, they sent him home.
Oh, bless.
So I lost out on being Jake the Snake's tag team partner. But,
that would have been something you held dear.
Would have been amazing.
You could have had a ton of classic matches in the
absolutely.
Indies, but that would have been.
I mean, considering I've gone on to use the DDT as a finish, it would have been just incredible. So.
Speaking of Kian, he's been doing that as well.
Has he?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Just so I can DDT him out of his boots.
Looking in all the fans' eyes as he does it as well.
Excellent. Excellent.
He knows what he's doing.
Of course he does. It's incredible work.
Oh, that's cool though. You could have tagged with Jake the Snake.
I know.
That's close.
It was like, at one point it was like, you're going to be like his Jake the Snake's tag partner. Okay, that's not worked out. Oh, you're going to be Steve Carino's tag partner.
Oh.
And then he dropped out. He couldn't make it. So it was me and Paul Travell in the end.
Is there anyone you've got to either work or tag with, and you've got, I can't believe this is happening?
In 2014, I got to have a match against Tatanka.
Oh, yes.
And that was like a real childhood, like, this is so cool. Like, and it was a real period where like a lot of British guys were working against American independent wrestlers. So like people, guys were working against people like Finn Balor when he was over here. People working against like the Motor City Machine Guns. They were working against Chris Masters, all that. And for me, like, well, yeah, that's cool, don't get me wrong. That they weren't my era. Like my era of like growing up was watching WWF guys from like the late 80s and 90s. So when I was told by Southside, oh yeah, we've booked Tatanka and you're going to wrestle Tatanka, I was like, this is so cool for me. Like that was such a cool moment personally.
Is there footage of that?
Do you know what? I've never seen it. I think there must be somewhere in the archive of Southside or on DVD. I need to
contact the promoter.
And find out, I've never watched it back, but it was really well received by a lot of people. Like,
if RJ manages to find footage, please send it to me and I'll post just a clip here of him giving you a tomahawk or something.
Yes, I took the tomahawk chop. I took the chops, and I took the end of the trail, or whatever he calls it, his Samoan drop finisher. Amazing. So that was amazing. And then a couple of years ago, pre-pandemic, I got to do a spot on a 4FW show with Ted DiBiase.
Oh, that's cool.
So again, backstage, so cool. He just told us stories for like 3 hours of like Ted DiBiase stories. And I was in a manager role. I was kind of, it must have been 2016 because I don't think I was wrestling at the time.
Okay.
But I was working in a managerial role. And they were like, oh yeah, blah, blah. And then, Ted DiBiase is going to give you the $1 Million Dream.
Oh.
I was like,
the finish
this is the best day of my life. And when I got the photo back for that, it was probably one of the only times I text all my non-wrestling childhood school friends of like, guys, do you remember the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase? And I just sent him the photo.
That's
I was like,
so cool.
There's the $1 Million Man giving me the $1 Million Dream, and that was a
WrestleMania main eventer.
Absolutely, and like as a heel, he's such an idol of mine as like a wrestling heel. Ted DiBiase, I take a lot of cues from him.
I can actually see that now you've said it.
Like the way I wrestle and like the persona and stuff is very, very Ted DiBiase.
Yeah, your heel persona is very much so. Yeah,
absolutely. Because I just
King thing is
he's just brilliant. I take a lot of props from him and the way he worked. So yeah, that was a dream come true to be able to do that.
Yeah, not many of the guys. I mean, I could have asked Shah the same question, but Shah was actually, we talked about NXT a lot because obviously he got that opportunity. But I think you might be the first person to be able to drop like a big WWE legend name.
And then
there you go.
So you got to wrestle them.
Yeah, I think that was always the thing for me. Like coming through, I know a lot of guys like now would be working someone from like AEW now or TNA.
Like Michael's getting to do quite a lot.
Yeah, like the people
Jay Lethal.
Yeah, and that people were doing that, and that's really incredible for them. And I totally see. And I'm not saying I wouldn't like to do that, but for me, like being able to work with those guys I grew up with,
the late 80s, the early 90s guys. Yeah.
That was tremendous. Those were kind of things like those were tremendous opportunities for me.
Michael and I are both 2004 TNA guys, so Jay Lethal was a
yeah, of course,
big thing for Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was 2016. It might have been was it 2018? Summer of 2018, I got to work against Eddie Edwards.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah.
I suppose obviously not just the time you've had, but kind of the reputation you built yourself. These matches are gonna come your way every now and then, aren't they?
Oh yeah,
kind of
yeah.
Cool,
absolutely.
Fun things to do. I mean, even today, like what you said with Mighty, like, I mean, who would you call top of the British tag division? It's Sunshine Machine, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a couple of other names you can throw there, but Sunshine Machine are definitely.
Yeah, you got Sunshine Machine, you got the Young Guns as well. I mean, True and Lacey, they blow my mind. Like, because obviously,
they just did it, right?
Purpose, me and Jordan wrestled True and Lacey when they were still quite green, like just in terms of like establishing themselves as a tag team. And now they've just shot like to the top of the British scene of like tag teams, and they're so good.
I've said it before that I think the two best tag teams who work in the UK at the minute are Sunshine Machine and True and Lacey.
100%. I think you'll find anyone hard pressed to disagree with you on that one. I think they are absolutely tremendous.
True and Lacey is still on the up. I mean, Sunshine Machine holding both the Progress and Rev Pro tag titles at the same time.
Absolutely, which is an amazing achievement to hold the tag titles at the top, two of the top companies.
Which obviously Luke was doing as well, I think, at the same time.
Yes.
He had both world titles.
Yeah, I think he had both world titles, didn't he? So, and I think like hasn't Luke also held like the cruiserweight title and the Atlas title at the same time?
Yeah, which are meant to be the heavyweight and the lightweight titles.
He's managed to hold those two titles at the same time, and then the two. So Luke Jacobs, I mean, he's got huge upside.
Yes, I'd love to get Luke on here, but Manchester boys are going to be
it's a bit of a drive for me. Bit of a drive.
I'll do it, Luke.
Yeah, but I think what's great, True and Lacey have got so many more years to come as well, and performing the way they do and the level they do is
already been flown out to Japan and
had that. They had time. Is it Noah? They've been to
Noah, and they love them as well. They want them back.
Not surprised.
Not
surprised in the slightest. They're very they stand out so much in the Noah scene as well, and I think they've got such a tremendous upside.
They are. They can so turn on that typical Western heel tag team.
Yeah.
And I think like places like Noah are screaming for it.
Yeah.
They got to the final of that tournament. Like
And
as Gaijin,
what better props can you get than that? So yeah, two. I love working with those two. I'm not big on shows with those two. I just I've fortunate enough to work with both of them quite a few times now, and it's always absolute pleasure working with them.
Mark said when I had him on that like all they care about is making the other people look good.
Amazing.
What else can you ask for out of people?
Really sensible heads on young shoulders. The pair of them, they're really like the way they think about wrestling and they put wrestling together. Again, you can see working with them, that's what they think. It's about. It's not about them looking amazing. It's about them having a really good match and making both sides look amazing. So
there's two things I can say about that. One, I've never met Kieran's parents, but Mark's dad.
He's brilliant.
He's just a dude, right?
Yeah.
And you can see how he raised all of the kids. Mark's got 3 siblings.
Great guy.
I've met 2 of them, and they're all such great guys.
Yeah. Well, he was a chair of governors. At the school where all the kids went to, where Mark went and the rest of his siblings went.
Just doesn't surprise me. He's so involved with his life.
And so we spent, I think it was an Ignite show. We must have spent about 2 hours backstage just talking about school governance, and he's such a great guy. So.
I mean, having such a hands-on, supportive parent, that's only going to put you in like good mental space for anything like that, right?
Absolutely. So.
And then the other thing is, one of their key trainers is Ollie Peace.
Yeah.
And I will never stop putting Ollie Peace over.
Oh yeah, very underrated. I think in terms of someone having on your show in a multitude of roles, you really can't go wrong with Ollie.
And completely selfless.
Absolutely. Another one who just wants to put on good wrestling. So
Shah said about him is like, that's a day off when you wrestle Ollie Peace.
Yeah.
And he'd wrestled Ollie twice. Once when Ollie was brand new, and then once last year.
Yeah.
And after the last year's match, he was like, "Yeah, I'm wrestling Ollie's a day off, mate."
Yeah, and everybody says that. Everybody says that about Ollie. And he's such, he's got such a good command of like getting shows, just getting stuff done. If you just need stuff done,
that work ethic is.
Ollie's incredible to have on there, And I think they even like, Pro Wrestling East. Ian, who runs Pro Wrestling East, said he's one of the like Mount Rushmore of Pro Wrestling East is Ollie Peace, because he's just, from providing the ring to just having him on the shows to him working lots of different people and doing lots of different gimmicks. He's just you can't ask for more really.
And if you ever go to a WrestlePeace show, Ollie very rarely wins. He always puts people over. The only time Ollie wins is when he's Ollie Peace at Rayleigh.
He gets the business. That's it.
When he's the hometown boy, he gets the win. But aside from that, he just the Rat Master's getting buried, Ollie War's going down. And a lot of people, True and Lacey, have said it. Jordan Saeed, whenever anyone asks him for any advice, says go talk to Ollie Peace, get booked at WrestleForce, and get on his roster.
Absolutely.
Because Ollie runs like not through summer because he does his fake shows, but the rest of the year he runs every weekend. Basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it's the reason Key and Cameron's so good, like just reps.
Yeah.
And
the reps are so important, especially when you first start out and you're ready to be on shows. Getting your reps in is so important, and that's why, you know, working for a company like that, like WrestleForce, which runs that often, I mean, you pays dividends.
Say better than me, but Ollie might be one of the most prolific promoters in the country with the amount he runs.
Definitely.
And like Mark True was like, we had this conversation where I think, like, in his first 2 years, he might have had more matches than people who have been doing it for 8 or 9.
Oh yeah.
Because he was wrestling nearly every weekend.
Of course.
Which is an insane schedule. But you get good. You get good quick. And Ollie, he's got a good eye as well. I think if he thinks someone isn't going to find their way, you know, he'll give them a handful of shows, and if he's like, by the end of it, they've kind of not shown any aptitude or improvement, you might get dropped. So there's also that. There's a bit of risk as well.
Yeah, of course. But
step up to the plate.
Exactly. You know, all any wrestler can ask is for an opportunity.
Yeah.
But once you've got that opportunity, it's what you do with it is, you know, is entirely up to you.
You can see it with some of the young lads Ollie's now using. It's weird to think of Mark and Kieran and Kian not as young lads anymore.
No, they're not now, are they? Yeah.
They're only 22.
Yeah.
But there's now 16, 17, 18-year-olds coming through.
Absolutely. And they're the kind of experienced roster members now. So
yeah, well, we're trying to convince Ollie to let Kian be heel, so that he can wrestle Isaac Blair and Raymond O'Reilly as them two as faces.
Excellent.
Which I think, because they're a similar stature to him,
of course,
they could learn a lot.
Definitely.
But the face thing is
yeah. Another person who's really, really great to drive with is Sky Smithson, because we've done it. She lives not too far from where I work.
Oh, amazing,
so we've done a couple of purpose drives together.
I could concur. I've done a lot of drives with Sky as well. She's not only has she got a great head to talk about wrestling, she's also funny and loves taking the piss out of people. Quite
absolutely. And when we did a couple of drives, she just started to set up her training school.
Oh, Cobra School. Check it out.
She just started to set up Cobra Wrestling Academy, so it was really cool, like talking about the ins and outs of that with her, talking about like the work, the wrestling she was enjoying doing. She was kind of when the journeys we did, she was really in the thick of like the Lana Rosting experience.
Oh yeah,
storylines that she was doing. So she talked a lot about like how she was really loved tagging with LA Taylor.
Her best buddy.
And you know, she's just got a really sensible head on her, and you know,
she's unbelievably good.
Yeah, and awesome, and awesome too. Like
best drop kick in the game. Right now.
Yeah, and like I think one of the drives we did, that was the one where she had the match against Michael.
Oh
in the main event of Purpose.
Main event for the title.
It was a fantastic match.
Amazing match.
It was such a good match. And what was the other match of Sky's that I was literally jumping out the seat? It was at Pro Wrestling East, and it was Sky Smithson versus Jetta before Jetta retired.
Yeah.
And it was hands down. I think I tweeted about it and said, this is actually what pro wrestling should look like. I said, go out of your way to watch. I think it's on YouTube actually, because it was on Pro Wrestling East YouTube channel. So I honestly it's just one of my favourite pro wrestling matches ever, Jetta versus Sky Smithson.
And I'll be honest, her legacy is already there. Like, she's still young herself and still gunning. She's gunning for the Purpose title at the minute. She wants David again because he cheated to beat her last time.
Excellent. No,
but she, like, the trainees are already showing some amazing promise. Archie Payne, I don't know if you've seen him wrestle.
Yes, I'm aware of Archie Payne.
Yeah, he's started to get those WrestleForce reps, and I can already see how good he's gonna be.
Fantastic.
Like, he's so talented, and that's a lot of that's down to him, and a lot of it's down to Sky.
Yeah.
And then the guy she gets into training, including True. Have you done much training of people?
Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of seminars. I mean, there was a time I headed up a training school, but it just wasn't unmanageable with like work life and things like that. I couldn't, you know, between wrestling on shows and my, you know, being full-time education, trying to head up a training school just wasn't really sustainable for me. So, and it wasn't my training school. It was like I was asked to be on board.
I think it is.
But aside from that, I've done seminars every year. Every couple of months I get asked to do seminars and things like that, and come and do training seminars. Did one up at House of Paint last year in Nottingham for Sticks.
Oh, cool.
Which was really, me and Skip went up there together. So me and Skip drove up there together and did a House of Paint training seminar, which was amazing because the Sticks' facility at House of Paint Nottingham was amazing. He's got 2 rings, he's got a gym area, he's got a mat area,
so
TV
cool.
area. It's a really high quality training centre. So
have you ever done any like purely like character focused classes? Because
I have, yeah.
You are near the top of my list for this. Like someone asked me recently, like they were starting a promotion, like who do I get? I was like, hey, you want to build a show around one person who can help you tell the story of like from zero, from the ground? I said, get RJ Singh.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I did a couple of years back, about 2-3 years. I did a training seminar at Play Fight, just when Play Fight had first opened.
Currently was place.
Yes, it was one of. I did. I just did an evening seminar, and I actually, do you know what? I actually took like pens and paper with me, and we must have done about an hour ring work, and then spent the next 2 hours just talking and doing ideas and talking about storytelling, and because obviously storytelling is my biggest thing. Every match is a story, and that's really what I care about, is that what's the story of the match, and then what's the longer term story we're telling. So I tend to now, when I do seminars, I do less in ring action and more talking through what it's like to tell a story, and the importance of, like, you know, why we drop certain things in the ring at the start of the match because we're going to pay them off at the end of the match, and so forth. So.
Well, it's what drew me to you as a fan before I even met you. Like, I enjoyed watching you create like a match that wasn't just about the athleticism. Obviously that's there, but the story as well is key.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, story is all. When it comes to wrestling, story is everything.
We've arrived. Thank you,
Yeah.
RJ, the King. We've arrived, and thank you for coming on the show. Thanks for coming on Making Towns.
Absolute pleasure. It's been brilliant.
Christian Cage's favourite podcast.
Should be as well.
Do you want to got anything you want to plug? Any socials?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, 2 different ones. So if on Twitter I'm RJ Singh is King, but on Instagram I am King RJ Singh. So you have to flip it around there, and I can't remember which one I am on TikTok either. I'm on TikTok, but I don't, I post every now and again.
We call that the purpose problem.
Absolutely, there's a lot of DDT. I basically post DDT videos on TikTok, so I think it's King RJ Singh on TikTok too.
Amazing, thanks man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Making Towns. It has been great talking to RJ Singh, thanking him once again for coming on. As RJ said, you can follow him, and I've got the details here. He wasn't quite sure himself. He is RJ Singh is King on X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and he is King RJ Singh on Instagram. Go follow him in those 2 places. If you want to follow Making Towns, we are at Making Towns Pod on Instagram. That is where we do most of our social media. Also, please go give Purpose Wrestling a follow, the company I co-run with David Francisco, at Purpose Wrestling on Instagram and at WrestlePurpose on X. Also, I am running some family-friendly wrestling shows under our other brand of Mighty Pro Wrestling. Follow us on Instagram at mighty.pro-wrestling for all the latest information on that show coming up in Loughton in November. Check it out. If you want to follow me on the socials, I am at bdavies_creative on Instagram. That is where you'll find most of my work going up. And all there is to say is thank you to RJ Singh, and thank you to you for listening to this episode of Making Towns. On the next episode, my guest was supposed to be David Francisco, but he still insists on spelling the centerpiece wrong. It's R-E, David, not E-R, so I can't have you on the show. So instead, I have got the current reigning defending British Cruiserweight champion from RevPro and 2-time former Purpose Wrestling champion, only 2-time former Purpose Wrestling champion, Nino Bryant is going to be on Making Towns, so keep an eye out for that, dropping in about a month's time. Once again, thank you to RJ Singh, and thank you all to listening or watching this episode of Making Towns. I'll see you next time.